The trial begins with something that quietly shapes the entire case before a single witness is questioned. Instead of rushing into emotional accusations, both sides immediately fight over money, and that tells you where the real battle will be.
The messages, anything from our family wizard, text messages between the parties, and the worksheets are as far as the plaintiff's calculations and defendant's calculations. We'll be stipulating to those as well. Anything else, I would reserve the right to object after a foundation. And again, I reserve the right to argue that that the court should come to a different conclusion than maybe demonstrated. But as to the exhibits purporting to show what they show, we stipulate.
All right, Ms. Schultz.
As far as defendant's exhibits go, I don't have labeled versions, but as far as any messages between the parties, I'm happy to stipulate to those. But aside from that, I would just reserve the ability to make a record when Ms. Wolfram introduces them, just because of some various statements that are made handwritten by the defendant onto those. But overall, I don't think there's any major issues, but no stipulations as to anything at this point on those exhibits.
All right, and I also understand that there are some facts that the parties are willing to stipulate to, some basic facts.
Yeah. Where did my proposed stipulations go? Yeah, so it looks like the appraised value of the marital home was $544,000. The mortgage balance at the relevant time was $220,877.35. The home is marital property subject to division. That mortgage payment and home utility payments have been made by Mr. Dreyer. That Mr. Dreyer has paid child support monthly since February 1st in the amount of $20.39. Oh, actually, that was January.
January 1st.
Would you disagree with that, Emily? I did put in February, but he paid in January as well.
I would need Ms. Dreyer. Did you receive child support from Mr. Dreyer in January this year as well?
Off the top of my head, I don't believe so, but I would have to double check.
My recollection was February through July.
Okay, so we'll stipulate from February to July, and then we can take testimony on to January then. That the retirement total balance was $158,265.81, and that there may be a premarital balance. We don't know. And then the balance on the Chase credit card was $21,942.10 in August of 2025. And that currently it's currently as of last month, I think, right, is $39,210.25. That at least Mr. Dreyer's last transaction on the card was August of 2025, and he was after that not an authorized user. And then I think we didn't actually talk about this out loud. I'm sorry about that, but that all the payments on the vehicles have also been made by Mr. Dreyer. That was on my proposal. I don't know if you had an objection to that.
So I believe the payments were made on Ms. Dreyer's vehicle. I believe there is a series of exhibits for reimbursement requests that Mr. Dreyer's truck payment had come out of what was paid to Ms. Dreyer for child support at some point, and so I can't really stipulate that he paid those necessarily, but her vehicle payments, yes.
Okay. Yeah, I think that's what I said. So his pay, like he has paid all of the payments due on her vehicle since August of 2025. Yep.
Yes.
Okay, Ms. Schultz.
That all sounds accurate as far as stipulations. I would ask to stipulate to the vehicle values. I don't know that we discussed that, but do you have any issue with those?
No, probably no, that's fine.
Okay. And then the only other thing would
And if you could
be
give me the values that you're stipulating to.
Are those on
correct.
your sheet, Emily?
Yeah, so that would be the Kia Carnival would be $33,313 and the Dodge Ram at $30,000. And the Carnival has a balance due of 17,432.39. And the RAM is 15,133.67 due.
Ms. Wolfram?
Yep, I would agree.
Okay.
And then the only other thing is the stocks. I believe we were just discussing to reserve those until we have proof. Reserve essentially division of those. I think there's no dispute as to equal division if Mr. Dryer can in fact cash in on whatever was vested of those stocks, given that he's no longer employed with Vector.
Ms. Wolfram?
I think that's fine. Again, I think we just got that information, so coming to understanding about it, reserving it is fine. I would agree to Ms. Schultz's statement.
Okay. Anything else, Ms. Schultz?
I don't believe so. Actually, one other thing. There was the exhibit 27 and 28, those two debts. Is there any dispute that those are the value that they are, which are the two medical bills?
Let me look at those again. Do you have those bills? I actually don't. I'm sorry, that kind of fell off my radar.
That's okay.
Is that
So
the
what
person you're
the
talking about?
U of M Health West outstanding is $1,741.25. And then Vanderland Dental is $458 balance. And those were both incurred during the marriage. I understand Mr. Dryer can, make any argument he wants as to whether or not, where they should be allocated, but they're essentially marital. They were medical bills incurred during the marriage.
Did you send me over those actual bills?
They were in the updated folder sent
Okay.
yesterday. It was exhibit 27 and 28.
Okay, I'll pull those up. I'm gonna preliminarily say, like, I don't dispute that the statements are what they are. As far as the balances, I think my client has an opinion about whether the court should, what the court should do with those. But
Right.
the balances and the statements, I don't think she made them up, so.
Okay. Anything else?
That is all.
That's all as far as the stipulations. The one other thing I thought to mention, Your Honor, is that we did, again, in chambers discuss sort of the structure of the testimony and whatnot, that we would be kind of compartmentalizing, if you will, as far as the categories, and allowing sort of a direct and then cross on each category before moving on. Just for
Ms. Schultz?
Yes, I would agree with that, is to start with
Okay.
property, have Ms. Dryer testify regarding all those issues, then have Mr. Dryer do his case in chief on those issues and reconvene on custody and matters after that's handled.
Okay. All right, thank you. And any other preliminary issues that we should address before we get started with testimony?
Not from my perspective.
I think that's it.
Okay. All right. And my understanding also is that that council has agreed to waive opening statements in this case.
Correct.
Correct.
Okay. Ms. Schultz?
Thank you. I would like to call Carly Dryer.
Okay. Ms. Dryer, would you raise your right hand? Would you state your name and spell it for the record?
Carly Dryer, Carlydreyer.
Do you swear or affirm the testimony you're about to give in this matter is the truth, the whole truth, and nothing but the truth?
Yes.
And one other thing I should probably point out to everyone is we are streaming so that we have open court and transparency. So if you could use the children's initials, which given their initials, probably you're going to have to include the middle initial to distinguish between the children just to protect their privacy.
Okay.
The first witness approaches property division with a strategy that reaches beyond numbers. Rather than demanding immediate control of assets, she repeatedly frames her requests around stability for the children.
Okay. Good morning, Ms. Dreyer.
Good morning.
You're currently married to Jacob Dreyer, correct?
Correct.
Okay. And I just want to walk through some preliminary things before we get into the meat of property discussion. When you filed the complaint for divorce, had you been a resident of the state of Michigan for at least 180 days?
Yes.
Okay. And were you a resident of Kent County for at least 10 days prior to filing that complaint?
Yeah.
Okay. When were you initially married to Mr. Dreyer?
January 28th, 2017.
Okay. And when did you and Mr. Dreyer physically separate?
I believe it was August 25th. Well, that was when I got back into the house, but we were physically separated from August 1st, 2025.
Okay. And in the complaint, you had indicated that there had been a breakdown of the marriage relationship such that the objects of matrimony had been destroyed and that there remained no reasonable likelihood that the marriage would be preserved. Does that remain true today?
Yes.
Do you believe there's any chance of reconciliation?
No.
Okay. And you have 3 minor children with Mr. Dreyer, correct?
Correct.
Okay. And can you state their initials and ages of each?
I have DRD, he's age 6. I have DJD, he's 5. And then I have DAD, he's 2.
And Ms. Dreyer, are you currently pregnant?
No.
Okay, so as stated, we're gonna start with the property division and talk about all of that. I am going to pull up what has been marked as plaintiff's exhibit 12. I will share that. Would the court prefer that I share these exhibits, or
Yes,
is
because
everyone-
then it will be in the record.
Perfect.
The only caution is if there's any social security numbers, account numbers, that sort of thing, then
Right.
just let me know and we can stop streaming just for the portion of time that we're sharing that.
Okay, sounds good. Okay, Ms. Dreyer, can you see this?
Yes.
Okay, and can you identify what this is?
Yes.
Okay, and what is this document?
It's our property division document with all of our financials and assets.
Okay, and from what you're seeing right now, does this include all of your assets and debts?
Yes.
Ms. Dreyer, are there a couple, well, we'll get into that later. So you and Mr. Dreyer have, there's no dispute as to the value of the home being $544,000, correct?
Correct.
Okay. And there's a first mortgage on the home of $220,000, almost $221,000, $228.77 and 35 cents.
Mm-hmm. Yes.
Okay. And there's also a HELOC on the home.
Yep. Yes.
Okay. Tell me about the balance. Is the balance of the HELOC indicated on this spreadsheet? Is that accurate?
I believe so. Yes.
Okay. That's $17,906.21. That leaves $216,000 left of net equity in the home.
Yes.
Okay. What is your proposal as to how that gets divided? Talk to me about your proposal for the marital home.
For the marital home, since last year we started this and now we're a year later, Still trying to wrap this up, and my kids are starting school in about 3 weeks, as well as activities. So for stability purposes, I'd like to be in the home for at least 6 months before we sell it together, and split those proceeds together. But I think it's really important for my kids to remain in the home with me for stability, for routine, and to just keep everything as normal as possible through this process.
Okay. When you say split the proceeds of the home when you sell it in 6 months, what split are you requesting of those proceeds?
I would prefer for Jacob to have the HELOC be taken care of out of his share. He drew that money without my knowledge in December 2025 and hasn't replaced it. So I don't want that to have to come out of my share, since I was not consenting to him withdrawing on the HELOC.
Okay. Based on a review of Mr. Dreyer's financial statements, have you been able to see, does the last you knew, was the money he drew from the HELOC still in a bank account of Mr. Dreyer's?
To my knowledge, that's what I've been informed on, because I don't have any visibility onto any of our finances currently.
Okay. And so is that HELOC balance then in fact higher now because he withdrew that? Is this, I guess what I'm getting at, is this 17,906.21, is this the balance that the two of you had agreed to take out of the HELOC during the marriage?
No, we did not agree on drawing that out of the HELOC. We used our HELOC a few years ago to do home renovations and stuff.
Okay.
I did not consent to anything after that being drawn out.
What was the balance of the HELOC that you believe you're responsible for?
I don't have those numbers right in front of myself right now. Would
Okay.
you like me to do that?
No, we'll walk through it in a little bit later. Let's move on to so aside from the HELOC issue, are you wanting to equally divide the proceeds from the home in 6 months when you
Yes.
sell it? Okay. And you're going to keep your Kia Carnival. Mr. Dreyer would maintain the Dodge Ram, correct?
Correct.
Okay. And you understand we've stipulated to those values.
Correct.
Okay, and that would leave in your column $15,880.61 as equity in the Kia Carnival.
Correct.
Okay, and in Mr. Dreyer's column for his truck, he would have $14,866.33 as the equity for the Dodge Ram.
Correct.
Okay. As for various bank accounts, is your request to equally divide any funds in bank accounts?
Correct.
Okay. And then as far as the stocks go, I understand Mr. Dreyer is no longer employed with Vector, and there's a claim that potentially he may not have access to cash out on any stocks, but to the extent that he does, are you requesting the court equally divide any value he receives?
Yes.
Okay. As far as debts, let's talk about the joint credit card. And I'm gonna stop sharing. The joint credit card, what card is that?
That's the Freedom Chase credit card.
Okay. And we've stipulated that the credit card was $21,942.10 in August 2025 when the two of you separated. Is that accurate?
Off the top of my head, I would believe so.
Okay. And walk me through, what did the two of you use that credit card for during the marriage? How did you use it? How was it paid off?
During the marriage, I was in charge of our finances and paying our bills. So I opened up that credit card for us to help get cash back and just get rewards. I believe I opened it in either 2022 or 2023. It was a credit card that both of us shared. I was in charge of paying it off every month. And then when August happened, we had a situation where 3 lump sums of lawyers' fees were added onto that credit card, which is, I think it was about $13,000 right there. So the $20,000 balance doesn't reflect frivolous spending or anything. Almost $15,000 of that was just lawyer fees. I was also displaced from my home a year ago for a month's period, and that was my only means of finances because my finances were also moved from my bank account, so I didn't have access to anything except that credit card.
As the testimony shifts toward income, employment, and future support, the courtroom moves into a much more complicated area than basic property division. The recent loss of the husband's job creates uncertainty, but uncertainty alone does not automatically erase financial obligations.
So from August until January, February, I was only using the credit card as a means of clothing, food, activities for my children. We had 2 birthdays. We had the holidays. I was the only parent that bought gifts for our children for all those events. It was all on the Chase credit card. And again, since I didn't have access to our financials, I was not able to make any payments each month to try to pay it off or lower it. And then it wasn't until I started getting child support when I was able to not use that. And it also went maxed out.
Let me back you up a little bit. So prior to August 2025, is it the case that money would be spent on the card, but then it would be paid in full when that statement came out?
Yes.
Okay. And it was only beginning August 2025 that essentially you guys had so much going on, you weren't able to then pay that card down.
Yes.
Okay. The increase in balance you were just talking about, was there anything that you were spending on that card? You're not disputing you're the one who was spending on the card, are you?
No.
Okay. Is there anything that you believe was frivolous spending or unnecessary from the time of August through January?
No.
Okay. In fact, were there times that Mr. Dreyer asked you to put certain expenses on that card?
There were times, yes, where he asked me to buy things and he understood my only means of buying anything was on the Chase credit card. I also had conversations with him about it, but it never got taken care of.
Did you have any form of income at that time?
No.
Okay. I believe you indicated that that was your only means to buy anything at the time. Since the two of you separated, had Mr. Dreyer from August 2025 through January 2026 been financially supporting you and the children in any way?
No.
Okay. How were you paid? What expenses did you have during that time period?
Food, clothing, extracurriculars, and anything school related for my children. But no, it was all on the Chase credit card. I had nothing. I had no spousal support or no child support inputted in our joint bank account.
Had you requested Mr. Dreyer contribute financially to such things during that time period?
Yes.
Okay. And what was his response to you?
Either to use the Chase credit card or to get another credit card.
Okay.
Or get a job.
Okay. Had Mr. Dreyer from August 2025 to current, had he continued to make payments on the credit card?
Yes, he started making payments, the minimum payment requested, and then he stopped payments in March of 2026.
And to be clear, you indicated earlier that you were responsible for paying the card during the marriage, but that money was coming from Mr. Dreyer's employer, correct?
Yes.
Okay. At no time were you earning the income to pay off that card?
No.
Okay. I'm gonna pull up exhibits 27 and 28. Before I do that, what is your request for the joint card, as far as the nearly $40,000 balance that's on there?
I think that Jacob should be responsible for paying for that. I don't have an income. I don't work. I opened that credit card under the agreement that it was a joint marital credit card. So I believe that it should be up to him to have to pay off that balance.
Had Mr. Dryer been contributing to you and the boys financially over that time period, would the balance be as high as it is today?
No, and if I also still had control over our finances to have a scope of what things looked like, I would have a better idea of how to take care of the credit card as well with payments.
During the marriage, who was primarily in control of managing finances?
Me,
Okay. When did that change?
August 2025.
Okay. Okay. And you have your own credit card, correct?
Yes, I opened my own credit card in January of 2026.
Okay. And there's a value of just under $2,000, $1,947.15 on that card.
Yes,
Okay. And you have no issue taking on that debt, correct?
correct.
Okay. And Mr. Dryer disclosed 2 credit cards, but that there were $0 balances as of the last we knew. Correct? Is that accurate?
Yes,
Okay. And are you asking that he be responsible for any debt today on those cards, if any?
yes.
Okay. Now I'm gonna pull up Exhibit 27. Let me know when you can see that.
Yes, I can see it.
Okay, and what is this?
These are numerous medical bills that have been gathered throughout the last year that are overdue.
Okay, and does that balance appear to be accurate as it shows on your account?
Yes,
Okay, I would move to admit Exhibit 27.
I thought there was a stipulation as to the admission of the exhibit, but not necessarily an agreement regarding how the court
Okay,
should
how
treat
they were
it.
divided. Okay,
Yeah.
so Exhibit's 27, and that's also 28 as well, right?
Yeah, the amounts I agree to. I mean, I think we don't even, if we could get to what they're for, when they were incurred, things like that, that would be, like, those are the questions I'm gonna reserve on.
Absolutely. Okay. Ms. Dryer, can you walk us through what this amount was incurred for? What were these medical expenses incurred for?
some of them were just for wellness visits over the last year to see my primary care doctor. And one or two of them, I think one of them was an emergency room visit.
Okay. And the emergency room visit, who would that have been for?
For myself.
Okay. Were you able to pay any of these balances when you actually, like, did you have any payments that you made when you actually went to the offices?
No.
Okay, so these are the entire, essentially the entire amount owed to the providers?
Yes.
Okay. And stipulated exhibit plaintiff's exhibit 28, can you identify what this is?
This is a dentist bill from Vanderlaan Family Dentistry for myself.
Okay, and when was that visit?
I believe I go every 6 months, so this was either back in January, December, or it could have been last September, or both of them together combined. But it's an outstanding balance that I have with them.
Okay, and at the time of the visit, did you have the means to pay out of pocket to the provider?
No.
As for the medical bills, are they both in your name?
Yes.
Okay, and so you're the person who's responsible for making that payment to the providers?
Yes.
Okay, are you asking that these be considered marital debts?
Yes.
Okay. And although you'll be paying them, you're asking that those be, you essentially be credited for Mr. Dryer paying for half of those in the full property division?
Yes.
The witness attempts to convince the court that past earning capacity matters more than temporary unemployment by emphasizing the family's long financial history instead of focusing only on current circumstances.
Let's talk about tax returns. Did you and Mr. Dryer file married joint for taxes during the marriage?
Joint, yes, married joint.
Okay. Have you filed 2025 taxes yet?
I do not know.
Okay. You haven't signed, have you signed any tax returns
No.
this year? Okay. During the marriage, when you filed tax returns, did you ever receive refunds from the government, or did you typically owe money to state or federal or both?
The last few years we received a refund.
Okay. And are you asking to file 2025 taxes as married filing joint since you were married all of 2025?
Yes.
Okay. And are you asking that any refund be equally divided between you and Mr. Dryer?
Yes.
Okay. Let's talk about spousal support. Ms. Dryer, are you currently employed?
No.
Okay. And when was the last time you worked?
September 2019.
Okay. How were you employed in what capacity at that point?
At that point, I worked for a year and a half out here when we moved as a sales position at a company, and it was full time.
Okay. You say when you moved, where did you move from?
We grew up in Metro Detroit and moved out here in 2017 for his job.
Okay. Were you employed in Metro Detroit before moving out where you currently live?
Yes, I was employed at Troy Athens High School as a high school Spanish teacher and a volleyball coach.
Okay. Had you ever worked as a teacher or an educator on this side of the state?
No.
Okay. What led you to leave your sales position when you moved over to the west side?
We had an agreement when our first son was born that I would become a stay-at-home mom to raise our son while Jacob worked and provided for us.
Okay. And is that what happened?
Yes.
Okay. And do you have any plan to re-enter the workforce at this time?
Yes.
Okay, what is your plan?
I'm looking to get part-time work right now. I still have a child who's 2 years old who is not in any schooling. So I'm looking to do part-time right now so I can still spend time with him until he is in more schooling next year when I can afford to go into more work. But right now I'm interviewing with some schools positions and some other positions as well to just try to get some income and stability out there.
Okay. Do you anticipate when, especially before the youngest is in school, would you need any sort of childcare to re-enter the workforce full time?
Potentially.
Okay. What does Mr. Well, this has gotten a little tricky now because Mr. Dryer was recently terminated from his employer. Do you understand that?
Yes.
Okay. What did Mr. Dryer do for work throughout the marriage up until last week?
He has been in medical device sales.
Right. And I believe you indicated that was the reason that you had all moved over to the west side was for that position.
That is correct.
Okay. How long had he been with that company then?
Oof. Maybe he was with that company for 3 years before he went to a different job out here.
Okay. And that different job, that's who he was recently terminated from last week?
No.
Okay. What is the last employer that he had?
This one was Vector, and then before that was Acutus Medical.
Okay. Do you recall why Mr. Dryer switched positions from Acutus to Vector?
He called me in November of 2023 and told me he lost his job. He told me it was because there was his business was essentially being bought out and everybody was getting laid off.
Okay. Regarding his recent job loss, has Mr. Dryer had any conversations with you regarding that?
Yes.
Okay, tell me about those.
I believe it was 2 weeks ago during an exchange. He pulled me aside and let me know that he was placed on a PIP at work. He told me it was a death sentence and that he was probably going to lose his job. When I asked him why, he told me that it was because he did not turn a PO in time, a purchase order on in time, and just to have myself be prepared that he was going to lose his job. I checked in with him a few times after that to see what was going on, and I didn't hear about any confirmation of termination until Friday.
Okay. Has Mr. Dryer, talk to me about Mr. Dryer's travel during the marriage. Did he travel for work and how often?
Yes, his travel was very extensive. Sometimes it would be him leaving on Sundays and not being home till Thursdays or Fridays, or leaving Mondays, not being home till Thursdays or Fridays. He had a lot of weekend conferences as well. So I was the primary caretaker for our kids while he was out of the home a lot of the time.
Okay. And I don't want to get super far into the kids since we're trying to keep things separate, but is this suffice to say Mr. Dryer was traveling every week for multiple days, or did it vary week to week?
Every week.
Okay. Has Mr. Dryer communicated to you in the last few weeks since he started indicating there may be an upcoming job loss as to whether that was a result of him not wanting to travel?
No.
Okay. And you previously indicated that you were responsible for the finances during the marriage, and so you had, I assume that means you had some pretty good knowledge of what he was earning.
Yes.
Okay. And what's your recollection of what Mr. Dryer was earning throughout the marriage?
Over 200.
Over 200,000?
Yes.
Is that annually?
Yes. It
Um,
varies
I don't-
of his bonus structure and um, how his sales and stuff went, but around there, yes.
Okay. I'm going to share with you what have been marked as exhibits 8 and 9 and stipulated to the admission of the same. Can you see this?
Yes.
Okay. And what is this document?
A tax return document?
Okay. And that is that for the year 2023?
Yes.
Okay. And for 2023, were you employed?
No.
Just so you know, we do have the names showing. I see that you redacted the associate members, but I just.
Yes.
We're streaming.
Thank you. Ms. Dryer, excuse me. I'm gonna walk you through this. Is this prognosticator, is this including $0 of income for you?
Yes.
And that's based on your current unemployment status?
Yes.
Okay. And gross income to Mr. Dryer of $228,620.
Yes.
Okay. And is that based on what we just walked through as his income?
Yes.
Okay. Given that, are you asking the court award you $2,238 a month as indicated by this prognosticator for the next 5 years?
Yes.
Okay. Are you also asking that Mr. Dryer pay any sort of retroactive support to you?
Yes.
Okay. And are you asking that that be in the same amount moving forward?
Yes.
Okay. Ms. Dryer, do you expect to receive any income producing property in this divorce?
Cross-examination changes the pace of the trial because the objective is no longer telling a story, it is exposing weak spots one answer at a time. Instead of making dramatic accusations, the attorney narrows the discussion to specific dates, reimbursements, financial records, and prior decisions.
Can you clarify what that means?
Absolutely. Is there anything you're being awarded in this divorce that you can expect to produce an ongoing stream of income for you, such as a rental property or anything like that?
No.
Okay. Do you have any other sources of funds in which to live on post-divorce?
No.
Do you believe Mr. Dreyer has the ability to pay spousal support?
Yes.
Okay. And he's currently unemployed. Can you tell me why you believe he still has the ability to pay?
I understand what he brings in monthly, that he is very well paid or was well paid, and that we should have funds to be able to support that.
Were the two of you ever living paycheck to paycheck during the marriage?
No.
Okay. Did you always have a surplus of financial resources in bank accounts during the marriage?
We always had an emergency fund.
Okay. During the marriage, what did that emergency fund look like?
It fluctuated between $5,000 at one point all the way up to $30,000 at one point.
Okay. To your knowledge, does Mr. Dreyer have any other resources in which to pay for life expenses?
Yes.
Okay, and what are those?
He has his work, he has his family, and I believe that there might have been an inheritance that he could have incurred from his grandparents.
Okay, talk to me a little bit more about that. Did his grandparents pass away? When?
His grandmother passed away 1 year ago, and his grandfather passed away this past spring, early summer.
Okay. And had Mr. Dreyer indicated to you previously whether he would be receiving any sort of inheritance from them?
Not necessarily inheritance, but I do know that his grandparents were very well off.
Okay. Do you believe that anyone has been contributing to Mr. Dreyer to aid in his finances?
Yes, I think that his parents, specifically his mom, might be helping out. I did receive a piece of mail that had his name with his mother's name on it, and it was with a PNC bank account, which I have no knowledge of us having a PNC bank account. So I'm not sure what that is, but I'm wondering if there's some kind of financial help with a bank account on their side.
Okay. And to clarify, did you ever have a PNC bank account jointly held with Mr. Dreyer?
No.
Has Mr. Dreyer disclosed a PNC bank account during this divorce?
No.
Okay. Do you believe Mr. Dreyer has been fully forthcoming regarding his access to funds throughout the divorce?
No.
Are you asking Mr. Dreyer to contribute to your attorney fees in this matter?
Yes.
Okay. And how much are you requesting?
$10,000.
Okay. How have you been paying for attorney fees so far?
My mother.
Okay. Do you know whether you owe any fees to my office to date?
Yeah.
Okay. Do you know how much you owe currently?
Yes, I owe $1,462.50.
Okay. And have you received a invoice following work done in July yet?
No, I don't believe so.
Okay. So do you believe you're going to have an even bigger balance following July and then through this trial?
Yes.
Okay. Are there any other reimbursements you're requesting from Mr. Dreyer?
No.
Okay. Were there any, when you guys talk to me a little bit about how, when the two of you separated physically, and bank accounts became separated, you were cut off from finances, were there any funds that were removed from your account or the joint account? Who was using the joint account when you guys separated?
So before we separated, we had one bank account. That's it. And everything was in it. We had our checking, our savings, and our 3 kids' bank accounts. And then when we separated, I logged in one day and everything was zeroed out. And he opened up another LMCU account and just made a lateral move with all of those finances.
Okay. And once that was done, did he also were all the bills transferred over to his account that he was then paying for as well?
Yes, all the bills were under my name, my username, my passwords, but he knew my password, so he went into all of my accounts and changed all of the bills over to him.
Okay. What about car payments? Did Mr. Dryer pay all the, we stipulated that he paid for your vehicle payment. Was he paying for his vehicle payment since you guys separated?
Yes, but his vehicle payments were connected to our bank account. So therefore, every month it would get drawn out of the bank account that I only had access to.
Okay. Explain that a little bit more. So what funds were essentially living in that account where that was being withdrawn? Was that money that you were bringing in? Was it his money, his income?
That was child support money that was
Okay.
inputted in each month.
Okay. So the child support money was going in there of what? How much?
$2,000 a month.
Okay. And then from there is how you were paying expenses for you and the children.
Mm-hmm.
Okay. And were there other expenses then that were coming out of there that you were expecting Mr. Dryer to be responsible for?
Yes, we had a streaming service, Hulu, that comes out of there. We have our DTE bill that still comes out of there, and his car payment was coming out of there.
Okay. I'm gonna pull up Exhibit 10. Let me know when you can see that.
Yes, I can see it.
Okay, and I'm gonna scroll through quickly, but can you identify what this exhibit is?
Yes, those are all bills that come out of the joint account that I have access to that only has my child support funds in.
Okay, and for the record, this is account LMCU 3091.
Yes.
Okay. Does this appear to be accurate? I understand there's essentially screenshots of transactions. Is that accurate?
Yes.
Okay, and do those appear to be altered in any way?
No.
Okay. I don't believe we had stipulated to this exhibit, but to the extent that we haven't, I would move to admit this one.
I'm stipulating that the question I think is my reservation on it is not that I'm stipulating that the amounts are accurately portrayed by the exhibit. It's whether or not they should be reimbursed is my reservation. So
Already.
Okay. So then you are stipulating to the admission of the exhibit. Okay.
exactly. Thank you, Your Honor.
Okay. Ms. Dryer, on June 18th of this year, it looks like a $444.29 charge comes out from Verizon Wireless. What is that charge for?
That was my phone bill that wasn't paid, and my service actually got shut off because it wasn't paid, and I had to pay it out of my child support money.
Okay. Who is that? Only your phone that's on that plan?
Yes, I believe that was 2 months worth of no service.
Okay. When prior to this, had Mr. Dryer been paying that phone bill?
Yes.
When did he stop?
I think it was maybe April or May. So in the spring of 2025.
Okay. 2025 or 2026?
2026, excuse me.
Okay. And then this $35 charge from Corewell Health on June 14th of 2026, what is that charge?
That's a copay at a doctor's office visit.
The courtroom gradually shifts away from arguing about who spent what and begins examining long-term financial expectations after the marriage ends. That distinction is critical because divorce courts are rarely interested in punishing either spouse.
Okay, and would that have been for you or the children?
Either.
Okay.
I can't recall.
Okay. $60.29 came out of that account to DTE Energy. What is that for?
That's our gas bill.
Okay. Had Mr. Dryer historically paid that bill?
Yes.
Okay. And prior to it starting to come out of your account, when did he stop paying that?
It still comes out of this account.
It's still coming out of your account? Okay. And therefore, out of the $2,000 a month that he's been paying you for child support?
Yes.
Okay. In May of 2026, there's a charge of $74.58 to DTE Energy. Is that the same as the bill we just discussed?
Yes.
Okay. And is that for the marital home?
Yes.
Okay. Where you and the kids are living?
Yes.
Same here on April 10th, 2026, there was a DTE bill of $115.47 that came out.
Yep. Yes.
March 12th of 2026, there was a DTE bill of $174.03. Is that accurate?
Yes.
Okay. And February 23rd of 2026, $381.77 to Verizon Wireless. Is that for your phone bill?
Yes.
February 11th, 2026, DTE comes out of $125.84.
Yes.
And January of 2026, a phone bill for $247.19. Is that for your phone as well?
Yes.
And then on January 14th, 2026, there's a $935 charge to Advia Credit Union. What is that for?
That's Jacob's truck payment.
Okay. And so in essence, he paid you $2,000 a month. But for January alone, he sends you $2,000 a month, and then immediately 935 of that is taken out to pay for his truck.
Yes.
Okay. Are you requesting that Mr. Dryer reimburse you for these amounts in here?
Yes.
Okay. And why do you believe that that's equitable?
Because I haven't had a lot of funds for my kids and I need to recoup everything I can.
Did you ask Mr. Dryer to pay for these expenses or ever indicate to him that they were coming out of the account you were using?
Yes.
Okay, and what was his response?
He did end up figuring out the car payment, but the other ones he told me were specifically the phone bill. He said is my responsibility.
Okay. And again, had you ever paid for your phone bill in the past?
No.
Okay. And did you have income to pay for your phone bill?
No.
Is there anything else you feel is beneficial for the court to understand why you're making the requests that you are and why they're equitable?
I feel that everything I'm requesting is just what I'm owed. I don't think I'm splitting hairs at this point. I've been living off of a very small amount of money for a year now with 3 kids, and I think it's time that we figure this all out so that they can be properly taken care of as well.
Ms. Dryer, are you asking the court to grant you a change of your last name?
No.
Okay. Okay, I believe that's all I have for Ms. Dryer as far as property and spousal support goes.
Thank you. Ms. Wolfram.
Okay. Actually, I'm gonna start just a little bit at the end here, just to, and then I don't know if I'll work on my way back, but starting with exhibit, 10. That was, the LCU account number 3091. That was specifically withdrawals from that account. Is that right?
I believe so, yes.
That exhibit does not show deposits to that account, right?
No,
All right, but there were deposits, correct?
yes,
All right. So for example, when you're asking for those reimbursements, they're not, we haven't seen the full account statement. We're only looking at that exhibit to show those the withdrawals. You'd have to show us a different exhibit to show that there's not a corresponding deposit, right?
correct.
And then when we get to Jacob's testimony, if there are deposits into that account, that would balance that out, right? In other words, you don't get to be reimbursed twice.
Correct.
Okay. And so, for example, in January of 2026, you say that that truck payment came out. First of all, are you now acknowledging that there's a child support payment made for January of 2026?
No, I haven't been able to look back on that specifically.
All right, so you still don't recall?
No.
Okay. But as to that truck payment, you don't recall being reimbursed that amount, that $914, that you don't recall that he reimbursed that amount?
No, I don't recall.
Okay. Maybe I will kind of work backwards. It kind of makes sense. We'll see. As to the attorney's fees, you're requesting $10,000. Is that right?
Yes.
All right. But you've already testified that in August, a good amount of money went towards attorney's fees. How many of the charges to attorney's fees were for attorneys retained on your behalf?
$3,500 for this divorce.
All right. And was there also an attorney's fee charge for another attorney that was on your behalf?
Yes.
All right. And what was that for?
$4,000.
All right. And that was for the criminal charges?
Yeah.
All right. So in other words, there's already been almost $10,000 of attorney's fees paid on your behalf out of the joint funds. Is that right?
Well, 7,500, but yes.
Okay. All right. And you elected to change counsel in between, right? So in other words, you chose different counsel in the middle of the case?
Yes.
All right. All right, there was an issue stated your testimony with regards to retroactive support. I don't believe I was clear on what date you believe retroactive support applies.
From August 2025 till now, August 2026.
Okay. All right, so during from August of 2025 through December of 2026, what was the status of your relationship with Mr. Dreyer?
We were in couples counseling together.
All right, did you consider reunifying with him during that period?
Yes, the state of Michigan, when you have minor children, gives you 6 months of a waiting period to try to see if you can recoup the marriage. During that time, I did my due diligence with that and attended couples therapy with him, and things did not work out.
Okay. And you would say, so through December, did you spend some time together as a family in December of 2025?
In December, we spent Christmas together, yes.
All right. And you invited him back to the marital home for that time period?
I invited him in on Christmas Day, yes.
Okay. And then after January, is that a time when you would say that you did no longer consider reunification?
Correct.
All right. So you are you familiar with the Monarch program?
Yes.
What is it?
A financial advisor program.
All right. And what does it do, or what did you and Jacob use it for?
I did not use it. I only had a scope into it. He presented it to me almost a year ago to show me how he was going to try to manage our finances. And that's the extent of my knowledge to it.
All right, so did you have an ability to log in and to see the platform?
Yes.
And what's your understanding of how that platform, like what information did you understand was provided to you through that platform?
It had a scope into all of our finances, all of
Right.
our accounts, our car payments, our house payment. Yeah.
Do you think that there were, did you believe that in the Monarch program there was things missing as far as accounts not being listed or accounted for?
As testimony continues, the trial becomes less about isolated disputes and more about trust. Divorce litigation often reaches a point where every financial decision is interpreted through the lens of credibility. If the judge believes one party has been transparent, even disputed evidence may receive greater weight.
Yes.
And what were those? Did you discover what was missing?
I'm still curious about a PNC account that's under Jacob's name.
All right, other than the PNC account, which I guess I'll have to address with Jacobs, that's the first I've heard of it. So other than the PNC account, have you discovered, you say that you have some distrust as to the forthcoming nature of the discovery, but other than the alleged PNC account, did you come to discover any accounts that were not disclosed, missing accounts, explanations for where there was missing holes in your finances?
No, just this PNC account.
Okay. And so in the Monarch account, it seemed to account for all of the other things that you understood to be your family finances. Is that fair?
Yes.
All right. And so it showed your mortgage statement, it showed your utilities, that kind of thing?
Yes.
Showed like a money flow situation where money was coming in, where money was coming out.
Potentially. I was just looking at our budgeting tool.
Okay. And it is a budgeting tool, right? It shows kind of the health of the family finances, what income you have versus your expenses. It does show you that.
Yes.
All right. To your knowledge, do you still have access to that?
I do not.
All right. When did your access to that end?
I think it was in March, but I was cut off from access to that.
All right. How did you find out, or how do you think that you found out that you were cut off from access to that?
I tried logging in and it said that I don't have access to it anymore.
Okay. All right. Fair enough. And is that something that you used both before the separation and afterwards?
Not before, no.
Okay. Because you handled the finances prior to that?
Yes.
All right. But your testimony is that that the bills were in your name, but Jacob achieved them being transferred into his name. Is that right?
That's correct.
All right. So I'm talking a little bit about those bills specifically. So through this time period, August of 2025 through current, who's paid the mortgage?
Jacob,
And how much is your mortgage payment?
roughly $1,900 a month.
All right. And who's living in the home?
I am and my 3 children.
All right. Just to clarify, you don't consider having that mortgage payment made as contributing to your support at all?
No.
Okay. And utility payments. Who has paid the utility payments from August until current?
Jacob,
All right. And you don't consider paying the utility payments any manner of support?
no.
Okay. And to be clear, when's the last time that Mr. Dryer resided in the home?
Resided as in living?
Yep.
August 2025.
All right. So he has separate expenses that he needs to pay for his own residence. Is that right?
Yes.
All right. Okay, so we covered utilities, other payments, things due for the house other than like streaming services. So car payments, for instance, who's paid the car payments?
Jacob,
Okay, and you don't consider those to be support of the family at all?
not spousal support, no.
All right, so just, I guess, to be clear, what do you, I guess, what is your concept of what spousal support ought to have supported you in?
I believe it's to get me back into the workforce since I haven't earned any kind of income. In order to buy a house, I have to have some kind of income to prove that I can afford a house. So that would count towards that. And it helps me with my children as well, because it's very expensive to raise kids.
Okay, so, let's talk about your efforts as regards to that. Did you, you have a bachelor's degree, correct?
Mhm.
I'm sorry, you have to say yes or no.
Sorry, Beth. Yes,
You're also licensed as a teacher?
yes,
All right. And as a realtor?
no longer.
All right. So what kinds of requalifications or anything are you required to do for your employment to restart employment?
I currently have a interview within Byron Center Public Schools to work in the high school, the main office
Oh,
administrator.
sorry. I appreciate that. My question specifically though is, do you need any recertification for any of the training? So you're both licensed as a teacher and
Oh,
for realtor.
I was just going to finish. So no, I don't need to be recertified to be a teacher.
Okay, so you could be, and it sounds like now I'm sorry, now I didn't mean to cut you off. I just want to be clear for the record. Now you do have the ability to be, it sounds like you're being interviewed. You can finish your answer.
Yes,
All right. And in fact, your public facing, like your LinkedIn shows that you are currently employed as a realtor. Is that fair to say?
I don't use LinkedIn. I haven't used LinkedIn since, I don't even know what that says, 2017.
All right, so but you could be employed as a realtor. You don't need additional certification or
No,
recertification.
I would need recertification. I would need
Mhm.
recertification to teach as well for both of those.
All right, and okay, but you just said that you didn't, so that's exactly what I'm trying to clarify. Do you
As
need research?
I'm no longer certified and I'm not looking to be recertified for those
Okay.
positions.
I
Let me
see.
just say, don't talk over each other because it makes it hard for me to understand, but also this potentially it needs to be transcribed, and that's going to be very difficult for the transcriptionist. So maybe back up and clarify
Yep.
that testimony. Thank you.
Yep. So I just want to start over, and I'm just like I said, trying to lay this out. If you were to achieve the same, let's go one by one as to your teaching credentials. Are you able to be hired as a teacher right now, or are you in need of some kind of recertification or endorsement to be hired as a teacher right now?
No, I cannot be hired as a teacher right now. I would have to go back for recertification.
And what would the recertification entail?
At least 2 years of schooling, of
Okay.
professional development, and whatever the requirements might be now. And fitting that in with a schedule with 3 kids would be very difficult.
Okay. And then I guess just because you mentioned it and we're on the teaching topic, what is the interview with regards to the position with the school that you mentioned? What is that for?
It's for the main office admin position.
Okay. And if you were to achieve that position, would that assist with your certification prospects?
No,
Oh. And then for the realtor license, is that something you would require recertification for?
yes.
And what would those requirements be?
I'm not sure. I haven't looked into that.
All right, so fair to say you're not looking to pursue that line for your career, is that accurate? Okay. What and nothing physically prevents you from working? You have any chronic health conditions or anything like that?
No,
All right, and you have daycare options, is that fair to say?
yes,
Okay. And also, Mr. Dreyer has exercised regular parenting time. In other words, there's days that you are not responsible for your children under the current parenting time arrangement.
correct.
All right. Since August of 2025, have you had any employment offers?
No,
How many applications did you submit since August of 2025?
oof. I think I've submitted maybe 10.
So in the span from August of 2025 to current, you've applied for 10 positions?
Yes.
And what kind of positions were those?
Various part-time positions, just things that might fit my schedule.
All right, so you have not applied for any full-time positions, only part-time, is that correct?
No full-time, no.
Okay. All right, back to a couple, I guess I am kind of going backwards, but I think it has made some sense. August 20, or I'm sorry, exhibits 27 and 28 were for essentially out-of-pocket medical expenses. Is that correct?
Yes.
But those were out-of-pocket medical expenses for yourself. Is that true?
Yes. Is that the,
That would be the U of M West bill and the dentist bill.
yes.
Okay. And were those balances, when were those balances accrued?
Over the course of the last year, I can't recall exactly the date.
Okay. And isn't it true that there were payments made to U of M West out of the joint account over that same course of time?
Yes, that was a copay.
Okay. And that same for the dentist bill. Now, as to the last dentist bill, was that also, I guess, when did the dentist bill, which is the Exhibit 28, when did that actually become due?
I believe that one was from December and also includes my bite guard, which is why it was a higher bill.
All right. And were those elective procedures? Was that an elective device?
Yes.
Okay.
By this stage, the attorneys stop arguing about individual expenses and begin testing something far more important: reliability. Cross-examination is no longer about producing new evidence. It is about seeing whether earlier testimony survives pressure when every detail is examined from a different direction.
All right. I'm going to focus a little bit more on the joint account with regards to the expenses. You testified that you were asked to put expenses on the card. Was that a specific conversation, or is your testimony that Mr. Dreyer asked you to purchase items and he would just have known you were using the credit card?
When he introduced me to the Monarch financial program, I told him that I did not have any access to our finances and that my only means was the credit card. And he agreed that that was the only way to, for me to use money moving forward.
All right. And so you would use money based on that card, but who was making the payment on that credit card?
Jacob.
All right. And you still don't consider that a form of support?
No.
Okay. So you were able to make purchases on it and he paid the balance, but that is not supporting you?
I believe that I was making normal household payments that have been normal household payments for the last 7 years since I've been a stay-at-home mom, and that nothing has really changed.
All right. But a little bit to tie it together, you had no expenses for living expenses. Is that fair to say? So in other words, no mortgage payment, correct?
Correct.
No utility payments, correct?
Correct.
No car payments?
Correct.
Any other payments that you were responsible for after Jacob transferred everything into his name?
I'm sorry, can you repeat that?
So were there any, and I want to be fair to your testimony, were there any obligations after the period that Jacob transferred things into his name that you were required to pay to sustain your normal, ordinary living expenses?
Well, my phone was one of them, and that was coming out of my payment.
And that was as of April, May, is that correct?
I think it started in January.
Okay, fair enough.
Can't recall. Yeah.
So just the phone bill after January, anything else?
Just the bills that were shown that were coming out of my account. Other than that, no.
Okay, and we'll get to that with Jacob, but you would leave open the possibility that if he's able to demonstrate there were reimbursements, that's not shown on your exhibit, correct?
Correct.
All right. Okay, and then with regards to the payments on the HELOC, you stated that you did not, first of all, I think, again, I want to be fair to your testimony. When you said you had no knowledge of what that was being spent on, that's reflected in the Monarch account, so that wouldn't be entirely accurate, right?
I didn't have access to the Monarch account and seeing that HELOC.
Okay, so now your testimony is the Monarch account does not include the HELOC?
I never saw the HELOC on that account, no.
Okay. Did you ever have, and so you don't have any access to any account that would have shown what withdrawals or whatever the running balance is for the HELOC? Is that right, your testimony?
That was only on the LMCU. That's how I saw it.
I'm sorry, could you just clarify what that means?
I only saw the HELOC be drawn out of the LMCU. I did not see it shown on the Monarch app.
Okay. So you did see some withdrawals from the HELOC through the LMCU. Is that what your testimony is?
Yes, I saw it in December of 2025
Okay.
or January 2026.
And and you say that you don't have, there was not a discussion. In other words, you didn't agree with any expenses being made out of that account.
Correct.
Okay. Did you bring that to Jacob's attention?
Yes.
And what was that discussion?
That it was in a different account and not to worry about it.
He said that the money from the HELOC was in a different account and you didn't need to worry about it.
Yes, that it was moved into a different account untouched.
Okay. And to the extent, did you ever have any belief, or did Jacob ever lead you to believe that the HELOC money was used towards sustaining your monthly obligations, your joint finances, as far as your obligations?
No, I mean, the last time I had access to the Monarch account, there was $30,000+ in our account. So I can't imagine why he would have to use that 18,000 for any other additional expenses.
Okay. Okay, and then I did want to circle back one brief time. With regards to the spousal support that you're claiming that you're owed, and the recertification aspect, have you presented any requests for some rehabilitative, in other words, like some program or anything like that that you could have begun if Jacob had only given you the funds for it?
Yeah.
When did you do that?
Well, I haven't done it because I don't have the funds, but I have a program that I'm looking to get into to do a career switch, but I need funds in order to do that. So that's why I'm looking for part-time in the meantime.
Okay, but did you, in the course, like, this has been for around a year at this point, right? At what point did you provide information, either directly to Jacob or through counsel, that you required funds to begin a recertification program of any kind?
I've never been questioned to provide information for that.
Sure, so you didn't volunteer it, is that fair to say?
No, I did not volunteer that information.
Okay, and do you have, as we speak, do we have the information on what you would be required to get recertified in whatever your chosen career path is?
You want me to speak about it right now, you're saying?
I am.
I'm looking to get certified in permanent makeup. So that's a schooling program that takes about a week. It ranges from $3,000 to $5,000 depending on the program. And after that, you can get right to work. And I'm looking to start working at a salon, and then I would go on my own.
Okay, and when did you become interested in that program, or when did that information become available to you?
I'd say probably around the new year in 2026.
All right, so around January of 2026, you became aware of a program that would have allowed you, after 1 week of training, to become employed.
Yes.
All right, and what do you think what do you estimate your earning capacity to be after you get this training?
I'm not sure.
A range?
I'm sorry?
Do you have a range?
No idea.
Okay. But that would be your chosen course, and you would agree that you didn't provide that information since January till now. This is the first time you've brought that information to anybody.
Yeah, I've been working on things, and I like to keep things private to myself before I feel like I can share what's going on.
Okay. When you said that you have been receiving support from your mother, has that been in the form of regular payments?
No.
So, I guess, what is the nature of that arrangement that you receive money from your mother and assistance from her for?
I guess it can be considered regular payment in the sense of my attorney's bills. When those are sent, she has to take care of those. But other than that, if I need funds, I give her a call and she has to help me out. Feeding 3 boys with $2,000 a month is very expensive. Maintaining a home and making sure that it's run properly on $2,000 a month is also very expensive. I have 2 animals at home as well that haven't seen the vet in over a year because they have been put on the back burner because that is expensive. So I've had to have my mom step in for a lot of opportunities.
All right. And I just want to clarify, when you say you're receiving at least since February, and we'll cover that, but at least since February, receiving over $2,000 in child support, is that right?
Yes,
And you have had 0 living expenses that have been attributed to you. Jacob's been paying 100% of the expenses, and you've been receiving $2,039 in child support, correct?
yes.
All right, so above the $2,000 and not counting the expenses, what other expenses have you been needing to borrow to cover?
As I just stated, household expenses. If anything needs fixed in my house, I have to take that out of there.
All right, and let's just go, say, from February, what has been fixed? Well, like, what have you needed to fix as far as your household in February?
We had a fence issue, where it had to be repaired from a couple years ago that it never got fixed, and my dog was getting out, so I had to fix that. That had to come out of my money.
That was in February?
That was this past spring.
What month or roughly?
It got finally fixed a month ago,
So in June, July?
June.
And what was that? It was a fence repair?
Yes,
And how much did it cost?
$500.
All right. So aside from the fence repair in June, and I was kind of going month by month if you can, but if not, I guess we'll deal with it. So what other expenses have you had to pay
Food.
with the category that so food, you spend more than $2,000 a month in food. So $2,000 does not cover food.
I'm sorry. I'm not saying I spend more. I'm just saying that's an expense. Getting my boys haircuts, that's an expense. Getting them clothes, that's an expense. Getting them signed up for activities. We've done a basketball camp. We've done a golf camp. I signed my son up for soccer, a soccer club this year. That all comes out of my pocket. His jerseys that cost money come out of my pocket. Anytime I go to a doctor's office and have to pay a copay, that comes out of my pocket. Anytime I have to feed them outside of my house, that comes out of my pocket. All these expenses. I mean, 3 kids are very expensive, and living in a home is very expensive.
Questions become shorter, more focused, and more strategic because a witness who hesitates on small facts can unintentionally weaken larger claims. The attorney carefully separates assumptions from documented proof, forcing each financial request to stand on its own.
So there are a lot of other expenses that go on top of it that I've had to take care of that don't go under the realm of child support.
Okay, and I would agree that you're not required to give us an accounting of what you spend your child support on, but I'm trying to understand what is beyond $2,000 that you receive when you also have $0 of expenses for your living.
So food alone, I spend over $200 at least on food alone every single week to feed my 3 kids, my 2 animals, and myself.
So you would agree that's about 800?
That's at least, and that's just food. That's not including household products. So things to keep my household going. So let's say 300 just to be safe. That's over $1,000 right there in food alone.
Okay.
That goes to my kids. That doesn't have anything to do with the clothes on their back, any activities we do, me taking them anywhere over the summer, me doing anything with them. Now I have to reserve that rest of $700 for the month for, honestly, emergency purposes. Or, hey, we're invited to go do this. Well, I can't afford it right now, so we're going to have to take a back seat on that. There's a lot of other expenses that come up to take care of kids that are not just your utility bills.
Okay, so based on what your statement is just now, that even if we give you $1,000 towards those ordinary living expenses, you've been receiving an additional $1,000, and you're saying that that does not cover the normal ordinary expenses you incur to raise the children over the course of the month.
Correct.
Okay. I have no further questions. You're muted, Judge.
Ms. Schultz.
Thank you. Ms. Dreyer, I just have a few questions for you. We didn't discuss this during direct, but Ms. Wolf, I think it was mentioned briefly. You have a couple animals. Can you confirm what animals you have?
I have a cat and a dog.
Okay, and I don't know whether you and Mr. Dreyer agree on this, but is it your request to keep those animals?
Yes.
Okay. Um, and then how has, I guess, are there, how has Mr. Dreyer cutting you off of financial support, at least for a period of time, affected you?
It's heavily affected me with my children because I have noticed that he is able to provide for my kids in ways right now and in the past year that I have not been able to. Because he has the financial ability to take them places, buy them things, do things with them. I'm not able to do that. I've been having to really hunker down on everything I do with my kids, tell them no with things, go to my mom for things. It's extremely embarrassing as a grown adult woman to go to people for help. And he's continued to hold it above my head that I need to get a job in order to get money, and that I haven't even received child support for the month of August. And that reflects what my kids are getting. So if he doesn't want to pay me, that means that my kids aren't getting paid and they're in my care right now. I would hope that he would be worried about me not having money in my account while our 3 children are in my care. If something were to happen and I need money, what happens?
Okay. And on that note, have you asked Mr. Dreyer for various funds throughout this case?
Multiple times, yes.
Has he ever willingly said, here's some money?
No.
Okay. And let's talk a little bit about the expenses for the kids. I know you walked through a significant amount of expenses you have, excuse me, for the children. What kind of activities are the kids involved in?
I signed up my oldest son for a soccer program this year. It's a soccer club. He took a big interest in soccer with the World Cup and everything. So I was able to get him into a soccer club, which is a little bit more expensive than a normal soccer like ASO around here, where it's just for a month or so. This is a year-round club. I got him into it. So that is more money than a normal 3-month activity. And then I had to pay for jerseys as well on top of that. And I'm not going to tell my son, no, we're not going to do the soccer that you want to do. I'm going to figure it out, sign him up for it, pay for it, and then figure out how to, get money in the future. I've had to sell a lot of my clothes. I've had to sell some purses to get through and to recoup some money.
Okay. When the kids, I mean, have they been in school? I guess because they've been in school for at least a period of time while this divorce is pending, correct?
Correct.
Okay. And when they go to school, at least the 2 oldest, are they eating lunch at school?
Just my oldest was. Now
Okay.
my second was not at lunch, at school during lunch.
Okay. Were you paying the school for those lunches as well?
Fortunately, we had the free program for food this year, so I did not have to pay for that.
Okay. And then, I mean, the 3 boys, how often are you buying them clothes?
Not as often as I would like right now because of finances being tight. My oldest is growing like a weed, and I feel like I need to get him new clothes every 3 months. But I usually do it every 6 months right now, season to season about.
Okay. Are you paying for anything for the boys outside of the scope of what you would have done when you and Mr. Dreyer were living together?
No.
Okay. I want to talk about a little bit about your employment. Do you have any reason to believe Mr. Dreyer would have provided you money to get recertified in anything?
No.
Okay. And is that just based on what?
Just off of our prior communication and his lack of wanting to help out.
Okay. And Ms. Wolfram made she discussed with you essentially the fact that you hadn't provided Mr. Dreyer the opportunity to contribute to any recertification because you didn't say that you were interested in that. Do you recall that?
Yes.
Okay. Do you have concerns with providing Mr. Dreyer more information than necessary at any given time?
Yes.
Okay, and what are those concerns?
Jacob likes to use information against me. He has surveilled me for the last year, and so giving him extra knowledge about my life makes me very uneasy at times. I don't want him to sabotage anything, to be completely honest.
I don't have any other questions. Thank you.
Ms. Wolfram.
I guess last little bit, this concept of being cut off from finances. In August of 2025, you still had access to the joint account, is that correct?
No.
You did not have access to.
Oh, I'm sorry. Yes, I had access to the joint account, but no longer the money.
Right. When you say no longer the money, what was the balance that was left for your discretion in August of 2025?
$5,000.
Right. So he did provide $5,000 for your free use without restriction, as far as you know.
Correct. It wasn't half, but it was only 5,000.
All right. So $5,000 that you could use as you saw fit.
Correct.
Then you guys continued essentially to share finances for a little bit, and Mr. Dreyer paid for all expenses, at least through, well, you've already testified he paid for expenses, and then beginning in potentially January, but at this point, we'll say February, he began also giving you $2,000 a month for child support, correct?
That's correct. The $5,000 ran out by January, and that time I was rationing it as well as I could.
All right, so you used the $5,000 you had access to funds, $5,000 of them, all the way through December of 2025, correct?
Correct.
And then you began also receiving influxes of $2,000 for child support sometime January to February, is that correct?
Correct.
So when you are saying cut off, what finances have you been cut off from?
All of our money that was in our bank account. I have no visibility into anything that we have to our name. If somebody asks me how much money is in your account, how much money do you have? I would say I have no idea. I think that's considered cut off.
And when you say your account, do you mean the joint account, which you know how much is in there?
In my joint account? Right now, there's $6 in my account right now. But as far as our marital account, I have no idea.
All right.
I know from March, I think it was March when I was cut off from the Monarch account, and I saw 30,000, and that was the last number I saw.
Okay. And so you mean, and you understand that the money that you are seeing in those programs is also going to support the household bills, correct?
Yes.
Okay. All right. I have no further questions.
The courtroom gradually shifts into evaluating long-term financial responsibility instead of simply assigning blame for past decisions. That is where many divorce cases are ultimately decided. The court is not trying to reward one spouse or punish the other. It is trying to build an order that can actually function after the divorce is finalized. Arguments about employment history, earning potential, future income, and available assets become more persuasive than frustration over previous disagreements. Both sides understand this, so they begin framing the same financial history in completely different ways. One emphasizes continuing need, while the other focuses on personal responsibility and available resources. The judge's challenge is separating temporary setbacks from permanent financial realities without allowing either side to exaggerate the facts for strategic advantage. As the first portion of the trial closes, the biggest issue is no longer a mortgage, a credit card, or a reimbursement request. It is credibility. Every disputed financial record, every unexplained transaction, and every competing explanation contributes to a larger question the judge must answer before issuing any ruling. Family court decisions are rarely based on one dramatic moment. They are built from dozens of smaller findings that either reinforce or undermine confidence in each party's overall position. That is why experienced attorneys spend so much time establishing patterns instead of chasing isolated victories. A consistent narrative supported by documents often outweighs emotional testimony standing alone. Going into the next phase of trial, both sides still have opportunities to strengthen their case, but only if their evidence continues matching the story they have presented from the beginning.